It's Julia Renee.
And Kendall Aaliyah. Welcome back to the Know Your Power podcast.
Hello, guys.
Hello. It's been so long.
I think I just realized how excited I am to do the pod again because I'm always excited, but it truly feels like it's been so long just because the holidays and you had your launch and it did so well, and Thanksgiving and thank you guys for being back. Hello,
yes.
bye.
Hello. Hello, bye.
Hello, bye. We're back. Yeah, last week was crazy. And I texted Kendall, I was like, I was like, I have a lot going on. I don't know about you, but I don't think I can fit it.
I just genuinely hadn't felt like a real person. I haven't felt like myself in a few weeks. Granted, I love what I'm doing, but I was just so nervous that something with the launch would be messed up and something would fail and blow up in my
I just
face.
need to be ready.
I have
for
literally,
anything.
I wish I was exaggerating. I have been up until finally I slept this weekend.
I literally told you, I love packing stuff. Just tell me. I would have made I would have been like Schmidt on New Girl. Remember when he starts packing the folders and he's like, I need more lopes.
Yeah. At next launch, I will definitely need help. This one was small enough where I managed to do it all myself, but I have just been even sitting at my computer until 3 a.m. and then waking up the next day at 8 and going right back to my computer. It's definitely the most work I've put into anything. But now I was just showing you before we started filming, I already have launch 2. Everything's ordered. So now I get to just sit and relax.
Are you able to tell us when?
I don't have a date. I didn't tell you one item too. I have sports bras that are already coming in this week. Wait. Those are really cute. They are definitely, I don't know. I'll have you try one on because as a small booby girl,
true,
they're really flattering on me. I'm scared they might be a little too much or not really gym.
I like things that are booby.
Yeah.
Sometimes Buff Bunny makes this one. I think you've seen me maybe wear it, that it's I ordered it and was I honestly don't know if this is going to work. Surprisingly, it does work, but I do understand that there is girls that are not comfortable with showing that much. And I completely get, there's some days where I all of a sudden I'm I don't want to show anything and it's just random. So I could be your big boob tester.
I'll have you test them out, do some jump jacks or something.
Oh my God.
But yeah, basically I think the plan is January. That's all
what I
I
was
know.
Thinking.
Yeah.
In my head, I was like, I haven't really.
Yeah. If I could do it around my birthday, that would be great. But I also might be moving around my birthday. So that might be a little too much on me. Wow. So as soon as everything's in, they're dropping. I'm not going to sit on it this time. So anyway.
Wow. I just want to say that I don't know if it was last year. I just want to say that last year you said you were going to do this and you actually did it.
Right?
So let's just...
I procrastinated until the end of the year, but I did it.
You said you were going to do it by the end of the year, but you did. So, and that is I can't even imagine doing that. And I'm glad that you have such a huge passion for that because it's a lot of trial and error, and you'll be able to look back on this first launch later when you've learned even more and it's everything just gets better and your system gets better and you have help and stuff and be wow.
Yeah.
I was packing orders at my house by myself,
I keep saving a lot of vision board stuff.
You need to document it YouTube and then just save it to a folder for later on. I think my foot is cramping, but that's really cool.
I think I did film. I tried filming the week of, but again, it got so stressful. So I did film, I have one clip, which is why I didn't want to format that SD card, where I was I'm about to go live. And I think I turned to the mirror. I was I think I'm having a panic attack. And then I was so I'll see you guys later. But little
what did
things
it feel like seeing? Because I'm sure you're refreshing this game.
It also has a live view where it pops up where everyone is in the world. So that was really cool to see. Yeah.
Where was the most common place?
Actually, a lot of Texas, a lot of California, because I did it at midnight. So obviously West Coast, their time would have been earlier in the day. So more people were awake to see it. And then weirdly, a lot of South Carolina. I was go off, I guess. And then
what up, South Carolina?
I've gotten some overseas orders, mostly from like Australia.
We actually, and I realized this when I was listening to the comments and reading the comments the other day, that like we do have quite a few listeners that are like overseas and stuff. So what's up, guys?
Pretty sick. There was one girl at a military base overseas, and it specifically said that on her shipping label. Wow, and I was like, that's kind of cool.
That is so cool. Yeah. I can't wait for people to get their stuff seized.
Yeah, me too.
But today we're going to be talking about kind of like overcoming the winter blues and like getting your freaking fire back and re-sparking motivation. Because I don't know about you guys, and I was telling Kendall this before we started, like I feel like I'm just slowly kind of fading away, especially these last like 2 weeks where it was like right before Thanksgiving, the week of Thanksgiving. And like this week I'm still like trying to like get back into the swing of things. I had a really awesome leg day yesterday, and you know, I've been really good with like my food and stuff like that. But during this time of the year, it's just like, it's cold. It's like today it's literally pouring rain outside. It's like dark, and it's getting dark so early. So you just want to stay in like your warm bubble in your bed, and you don't really want to do anything. And then there's like that added like excuse of the holidays and like my family, and it's like all, you know, I'm traveling. It's like you can still do those things and be on track with your goals. I think that's where the all or nothing mentality comes in, where people are like, well, if I can't be 100% for the rest of the year, what's the point?
Yep. And that's when they go, I might as well wait until January 1st and set my New Year's resolutions.
And I'm saying this because I've done this so many times before I started my fitness journey. Even when I started my fitness journey, just like let's push it off to the new year. So hopefully this episode can give you guys some more like inspiration and fire, because it's the beginning of December when you guys are listening to this. And like, I really want you to finish off the year strong and not have like any regrets and not, you know, none of that. So this is also for me as much as
I was like, I need this one today.
It is for you guys, because I need to hold myself accountable as well. But I wanted to start off with, one thing that I wanted to say. What was it? It was about my clients. It's because I was talking to them about this, and I was like, I need to do a podcast on this because it's so necessary this time of the year. Maybe it'll come up, but it had something to do with the holidays and like making excuses and being a little bitch about it. And like, I'm just kidding. But honestly not, and we'll see later. But I first wanted to start off with getting super clear on what your goal is. And, you know, I'm sure we're going to do a dedicated episode to like goal setting for next year, like we basically have done every year. But a lot of people don't actually know why they're doing what they're doing. Like they don't know why they're working out. They don't know why health and fitness is even important to them. And even some of the girls that are in my program, they have specific goals that they have for their physique. But I've noticed this past month, I've been having a lot of calls with clients, a lot of messages from clients. And it's not normally like this at all, where people are just feeling a little lost, you know? And I'm like, girl, we've had like a specific goal, or they're wanting to change it, or, you know, go into a cut because like their building phase, they're uncomfortable or whatever it is. But a lot of people aren't actually super clear on what it is they want. So I encourage you guys to really dive into what that means to you. And I encourage you to just sit and like reflect and ask yourself, this is one of the things that I had my girls do, like ask yourself why health and fitness matters to you, and write down your answers and dig a little bit deeper. Think about, of course, like the physical. We want to look and feel a certain way, but also like your health, your mindset, like your energy levels, and like your future. One thing that I ask a lot of the mothers that are in the program too is like, think about how you want to be for your kids. Like, do you want to have energy to like play with them? And do you want to live long so that you can see, you know, them get married and their grandkids, like going a lot deeper. And I know that sounds like really crazy, but going a little bit deeper than like, I want my tummy to be flat, or like, I want my big booty. And like, those things are fine too. Trust me, I want that too. But digging a lot deeper always helps you in those moments where maybe you don't want to do the thing that you need to do. And it's like, okay, I'm doing this for a greater purpose. So
this is always my biggest tip for bodybuilders, especially because I get a lot of messages from bodybuilders being like, what do you do when you don't want to bodybuild? Like, I'm in prep right now. I don't want to do my cardio. I'm sick of egg whites. Like, what do you do? And my biggest reason or tip is always this, where I go, write down your why. Or I always voice recorded mine.
Yeah.
Like, I would make at the beginning of my prep, when I was super motivated, I would make like a little voice memo on like the voice notes app or whatever. That was just me like freely talking about why I'm going through this, of like why I want to do a prep, what I want to get out of it. Again, far beyond, I want to be ripped on stage and I want to win
a trophy.
Yeah. It's more of like, what do you want to prove to yourself? What do you want to prove to the younger you? What do you want to demonstrate to the people around you? Like, those types of motives will carry you a lot further than, again, I want abs, you know, because of course that might be like the initial reason why you start something, but that's not going to get you through the really hard times when you don't want to do that thing.
Yes. And I always look at it as these different whys, or if you want to call them your why or like your purpose for doing any of this, I like to think of it as like a tool bag that I just like am carrying on my hip, and I have a bunch of them. Like, there's a bunch of other reasons why, and I pull from them whenever I need them. So even if it's multiple, please like get really clear on what it is you want. And I encourage you to just think like, do you guys right now listening, like, know how you want to finish this year off? How do you want to feel every day when you wake up? Like, how do you want to feel when you look at yourself in the mirror? All of that stuff. And take a second to just visualize that version of you that is possible and it is within reach, and really feel what it feels like to be her. And I did this a lot when I was getting my pro card, or even like competing in this last show, just visualizing that end result and what it would feel like. Because now it's like, okay, my brain doesn't know the difference if it happened or not.
Exactly.
So it's kind of crazy.
One of my biggest tips, if you have a hard time like actually closing your eyes and visualizing, is I utilize Pinterest, as we know, and I will find photos that just align with my dream life. So you can do this for fitness. You can do this for consistency, like finding certain images that represent it. I remember when I was going for nationals, and I do this all the time, and my current home screen is like a vision board for my brand. But I remember making my wallpaper. I'll try to put it on YouTube so you guys can see like what I'm saying. I take images and then I make like a collage out of them, and I make that my home screen background. That way, every time I open my phone, I'm seeing that representation and seeing that visualization of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And when I was going into my prep for nationals, one of the pictures on my home screen was just like an IFBB pro card. So then you see that and you think of that and being like, okay, that's what I'm focused on today and every day and my whole prep.
You're like subconsciously reprogramming yourself every single time that you look at your phone.
You're seeing it every time.
Yeah, like you really do. And you kind of get to the point. I did that for my pro card. I had Fran on my screen, and every time I opened it, I would just see her and see like the physique that I was working towards, and like seeing all her hard work too. And there's like a certain point where you're like, oh my God, that's been there the whole time. Like, you're like, whoa, okay. Yeah. But you're subconsciously reprogramming yourself to believe that those things are already yours. Yeah. Like, this shit really works, guys.
Exactly.
It really does.
Manifest it.
It really does. The second thing is, now that you have a really clear vision on how you want to finish off this year, or even goals that you want to take into next year, it's so easy to freak out with maybe how big they seem, or they might even seem like they're unattainable to you right now. And maybe that's why you're stalling on doing anything about it. So one thing that helps me is to take that big goal and then like, let's backtrack, let's break it down. So instead of being like, I want to become an IFBB pro, that seems big and seems scary, and I'm at point A, how do I get to point Z? Breaking it down, okay, well, what do I need to do weekly in order to get to that goal? Yeah. So I'm going to use a goal that might be more, it might apply to more people, because most people is like, I want to lose X pounds at the beginning of the year. Yeah. So maybe like your goal is, I want to lose 20 pounds. And that 20 seems like so much and it's so scary that you kind of like psych yourself out and maybe you self-sabotage in some sort of way. So what do you need to do weekly? Okay, let's break it down just weekly. And maybe that's simply, okay, I need to go to the grocery store. I need to prep my meals. You know, I need to go to the gym X amount of times. I need to do cardio X amount of times. Then you're like, okay, well, that doesn't seem as scary. And then if you even break it down smaller, you're like, well, what do I need to do just for today?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I need to go to the gym and I need to follow my meal plan. Okay.
That's pretty simple.
It's like, okay, it's not as scary, but then when you're sitting at point A and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to lose 20 pounds? Like, I don't know how I'm going to do that. Then that's where self-sabotage comes in. And there's so many different ways that we do this, and we'll kind of go into a little bit later. And I really think a whole episode on self-sabotage would be good. We've done it before, but
a new one.
Just a new one. There's always things. So just focusing on like, what do you need to do today and who do you need to be? That's going to get you one step closer to your goal. And during the holidays, I know that you're not going to be perfect. Like, we're not going to be perfect. Mm-hmm. But if you just think about it, say it is the month of December and you're off track, let's say 5 of those days, even if it's like full 5 days out of that entire month, that's still a really small percentage of days that you're actually off track versus the entire month.
Yeah.
You know, and by being on track those other days, instead of just being off track these entire like November and December, it seems like you're not making progress forward, but you are.
Yeah. I feel like every time we've talked about getting back on track in general, or like if you've had a fall off, or if you have had one too many cheat meals in your own eyes, our biggest tip has always been like, just get back on track. I don't care if it's been 1 day to 20, like no matter how long it's been, like all you need to do is get back on track. And even if that day where you're like, today I'm getting back on track, and you still at the end of the day mess something up, just go into that next day and try to make that 1% better, you know? So it's just like a day to day type of activity. And that's like my mentality this time of year, because I am that type of person that loves to baby myself when it's cold out and be like, let's just stay in bed. Like yesterday, I fell asleep at like 5 p.m., took a nap unexpectedly. And then I was like, oh, I was going to go to the gym. And I was like, I still need to go to the gym, but I kind of had a headache. And I was like, just show up. So I just showed up and I went and I did what I could do. And I ended up leaving and feeling really good about it, instead of being like, oh, I'm just going to like stay in bed now and then I'll worry about it tomorrow. And then tomorrow might come and the weather's even worse and you're even more comfortable in bed.
And then you're like, okay, well now I really can't go because the weather is bad.
Yeah. So if you're able to go, just go. Like if you're able to meal prep, just meal prep. Like getting those things out of the way on the days where it feels like a chore, just go do it. Even if it's half-assed, or even if you're mentally like battling yourself, just do what you're able to do.
My foot is killing me and I don't know why.
Like in general from sitting?
The top of my foot. Oh. I need a massage really bad. Ah! Ow. Okay? Maybe I'll bring up the other foot.
Okay.
Yes. I always wear my slippies around the house.
They're cute.
Oh man. Okay. So the next thing is you gotta stop self-sabotaging. Like there's just so many ways that we do this in our life. Like let's just take fitness and health, for example. Like you just said one, like waiting too long to go to the gym to where it's like, oh man, now it's too late. Or you keep like pushing it off. Or you don't prep your meals even though you had time to do it. And then you're like, oh, well, I didn't do it. So, okay, well now I have to eat to survive. So I got to get DoorDash. You know what I mean?
I actually did this one just again to share in case you're relating to it. Not to throw myself under the bus, but the weekend after Thanksgiving, right? Like we hosted, so we had so much food in our fridge, but I have been missing my normal like egg whites in the morning, oatmeal, and like my normal meals. And I waited all the way until Monday. Like I should have and could have grocery shopped on Saturday. And I was like, but we have so much food in the fridge. And then same thing on Sunday. And then Monday I was like, get your ass together. And again, it was just like a few days, but it's so easy to then beat myself up for it. But instead I was like, no, let's just go buy the egg whites and start eating the egg whites. Like I knew what I wanted and needed to do, but I was almost self-sabotaging or making excuses for myself to be like, but look at all the turkey and ham.
I can't waste it. Someone's got to eat it. Yeah, that's how I felt like Friday and then Saturday, and usually I go grocery shopping on Sunday, and I was just like, okay, we just have to, if you want to get right back on track, you just have to get back on track and just do that thing that you don't want to do. But there are just so many ways that we can self-sabotage. And I mean, one of the biggest ones too, especially with it being all cold and stuff in the morning, it's like people, the first thing that they do, there's a lot of people that do this, they wake up and they check their phone. And it's like, you're checking your phone and you're watching everybody else succeed at the thing that they want while you just sit there and watch them do it. And then you're like, why am I not achieving my goal?
They're not on their phones.
Like, get off your phone and go to the gym. Like, stop. And then, that can, I know how it feels to be in such a really low place that you kind of use the phone as a way to escape. And you also use the phone and what other people are doing on it and them succeeding when you're over here feeling like crap and you're like, oh, they went to the gym or they did, and you just make yourself feel super bad. You're like, oh man, then you don't want to do anything. It's like, okay, well, if it's making you feel like that, like don't do it.
Yeah. It's easier said than done, but that is my favorite habit that I have kicked. Is I make it a point. The only thing I'll ever check in the morning is like emails. And so I'll just click the email notifications, scan through them real quick and be like, okay. And then I get up and like go about my day without checking social media first thing, or again, comparing yourself to someone else. And like, it would be easy for me to like, or all of us to see Julia on the Stairmaster at 5 a.m. and be like, oh dang. And I'm here in bed. If you don't check it and you get yourself to the gym at the time it works for you, because everyone is different, then you wouldn't have that comparison or that like self-guilt.
Exactly. And like when I do my first video in the morning on my Instagram story on the Stairmaster, that's the first time that I've checked my phone all morning. So usually like I'm up at 5:30 in the morning and I get to the gym either to do fasted cardio, either like 6:30 or 7. And that time before, I haven't checked my phone the entire time. I have written down my goals. I have journaled about how I'm feeling today, like no matter how I'm feeling, and haven't checked anything from work, no social media stuff. And there's times where I like want to, and I grab my phone, and there's times that I have, and then I'm getting lost and I'm in what everyone's doing. And I'm like, oh my God, you just wasted so much time. You could have been like already at the gym. And then now your morning is all off. So it's just, you're sabotaging yourself. So it's about catching yourself when you do that. And there's just a couple of reasons why. This is just 2 out of the many reasons why that we self-sabotage. And one of them is like, you're afraid to fail. And this fear of failure is a form of protection that we use. Cause it's like, okay, well, if I don't really put any effort in towards my goal, then I can't fail. Right. Which is literally insane. Like the lengths that we will go to like manipulate ourselves is so crazy.
I also think it's crazy because usually these are goals we haven't even told anyone else. So like you're afraid of like disappointing your own self, and that's what's holding you back. It's not even like you're putting it out there into the world being like, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. And then if you don't, you're scared of other people's disappointment. Like it's all internal 90% of the time. We were like, oh, this is a big goal. What if I don't get it? Then I'm going to like hate on myself more. And then that's going to create some negative like mental side effects and all of those things. So it is crazy. We really be lying to ourselves.
It's literally.
But if you do it on the flip side and lie to yourself in like happy delusions, that goes a very far way. Like we genuinely like create what we're now living.
Exactly. We create our reality, whether it's good for us or if it's not good for us.
So make it good for you if you're going to lie to yourself anyway.
That's why one of the biggest reasons why I year round continue to document my life, because it genuinely holds me accountable. Because if I tell people my goals, for me, I have so much pride that I'm like, I have to do it. I have to do it. And that's why I love like continuing taking people through my journey of my off season files and gaining weight and like eating more food and like my physique changes, because it holds me accountable to sticking like to my reverse the best that I can. And when I fall off, like letting people know, like if I'm feeling weird about how my body is looking or uncomfortable in my skin, like that holds me accountable. And I guess I've realized now that I've done that with a lot of things, because I'm like, if I tell somebody, you know, I ain't gonna be looking like a fool,
I feel like that's a good tip too, because whether you have like 10 followers or like or like 1 million followers. Yeah. I feel like just sharing your journey in general. That's how I started my Instagram at all. I have now privated most of them, but if you scroll down, there's still at least 1 or 2. I used to just put my like check-in photos. Like that's what I posted. And I would fill it in of like how I was feeling that week, my current measurements, all of the things, because I just used it as a tool to be like, hey, I'm doing this prep. I'm not doing this for y'all. Yes. Like I'm just sharing them so I have something to look back on, and the accountability of knowing I have to post these every week.
Exactly.
You know?
And that's why some people will withhold their dreams and their goals and stuff, because they know like if they tell anybody, then they actually have to do it.
Yep, I do that.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I've done that too, where I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I have this really big thing, but I'm not going to tell anybody, because then they're going to ask about it. And I don't want them to ask about it because I'm not ready to do it yet. And another way that people self-sabotage is like, maybe you're afraid to succeed.
I've definitely done this one too.
And that one sounds crazy. And I always thought it was not true, because I was like, who could be like, why would you be afraid to succeed? And I remembered feeling this way when I was going for my pro card, because you don't know right now what it feels like to get there. So there might be higher expectations that you have of yourself. Like you might have to change a lot about your life that maybe you don't feel quite ready for. So you self-sabotage so that you don't get there, because it's unknown and it's scary and it's different than what you're doing now. And at least what you're doing now is safe, comfortable. You know what to expect. Even though you're unhappy, the unknown and what it means to succeed and how you view yourself is all going to change, because it's almost like you view yourself a very specific way right now. And if you achieve that goal, it's almost like you have to completely break everything that you believed down about yourself. And then it's like, well, who the fuck am I if I can't victimize myself? Like, well, who am I if I'm not, the sad girl who's sad all the time?
That was me. You know what I mean? So long.
Well, who am I?
With a lot of mental health stuff too. Yeah. But I was just like conditioned from outside sources to like no longer believe in myself, where the concept of winning or of succeeding or of doing these things felt so far-fetched that I was like, I started believing what these other people were telling me, and I was like, maybe I am dreaming too big, or maybe I shouldn't share this goal because other people are going to make fun of me for it. When in reality, first off, if you have a good circle around you, you could tell them anything in the world. Like you could tell me you want to go to the moon and I'd be like, let's do
go. You're like, when?
Yeah, literally. I will not go with you, but we'll support you. So
I'll be here on the ground.
Hard, yes. But like, it's truly like breaking a habit in general. Like if your habit is telling yourself you can't succeed or that you won't, then that's a habit you have to actively work on every day to tell yourself that you can win, you can succeed, you can lose this weight, you can do whatever you want to do. But a lot of the time it's like preconditioned, even sometimes from childhood of like, oh, I've always been overweight. Yes. So no way I can be the quote unquote I'm that skinny girl.
Like I am that girl. What is my life if I am not that girl? It's like you have an identity crisis. Yeah. Even if you don't want to have that identity, you're like, well, I've always been this way. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like me and you, I am always going to struggle with food. Like I'm just that girl that's just always going to struggle with food. And that can get you stuck always struggling with food.
Yeah. For me, it was like confidence where I was like, oh, I'm just always going to be like the self-conscious girl. And then as I started to gain confidence, I saw this TikTok the other day and I wish I saved it, where it was a girl filming like a TikTok in her car. And the caption was like, and suddenly I said I felt pretty today, but that's weird. And then it swiped to like younger her because she would never say that. And I was like, that is so real because like when you work on something every day, when you work on these goals every day, you just wake up one day and you are that person. Like you are that Francielle build. Like you are achieving the things that you had written down or visualized in the beginning. And you are succeeding without even realizing that you were succeeding.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man.
But that's the importance of baby steps, because when you do view it as this whole identity change, it's really easy to self-sabotage.
Like all of this is scary and it can be really big and seem very overwhelming, but the day-to-day stuff is not as scary. Like it starts adding up and it adds up and it adds up, and then eventually you look back and you're like, bitch, look how far we came. Like it's super cool. The next one is a really, really big one. It's going to be me yelling at you for a little bit,
I'm ready.
You know, getting real for a second, but you need to be holding yourself freaking accountable. Because, okay, how do you feel when you commit to something and then you don't hold yourself accountable to it?
Not good.
Yes. You feel like crappy. You feel like you can't trust yourself. We're like, well, if I can't even trust my own word, then how am I ever going to reach this goal?
Yeah.
And that trust that you build within yourself is so powerful in you actually getting the things that you want in this life. One thing that always bothers me, and this is on the like accountability subject, but you know, have you ever had like lunch or met somebody and they come like, oh, sorry, I'm late. There was traffic. And you're like, I've done it before too. And in my head, I'm like,
I've done it too.
No, there's traffic. It's rush hour. There's always traffic.
Yeah.
So wouldn't you think to leave earlier because there's always traffic? Like hold yourself accountable and just like, yeah, I fucked up.
Yeah.
You know, I fucked up. Move
also,
on.
especially when you're meeting someone somewhere and it's like, yeah, I was also in the traffic.
I was in the same traffic, but somehow I got here on time. Yeah. I don't know if it's like a show or something. I can't remember. But there's two friends and they're meeting for like dinner or lunch or something. And one of the girls comes in. She's like, oh, sorry, I'm late because I left late. And I'm like, that is so real. It's like I watched that and I was like, that's holding yourself accountable. Like, sorry, I'm late. I left late.
Yeah. Period.
Sorry, I'm late. You know, I know there's traffic and I still left at the same time, like as if there was no traffic. Like that is some radical accountability right there.
That's so true, because it is kind of like victim-y to be like, the traffic held me from being here instead of like, oh, I should have checked what time to leave.
Yeah, I will. And I don't want to sound like, because there's times where I'm definitely late.
I'm very much so the late person.
She is the late person in the group. But if I know that it's a traffic time situation, usually like in the morning when I have to like take my dog to the groomer and I'm taking him to the groomer and it's 9:30 a.m. like everyone's going to work, or I'm going to dinner and I know I have to go up north with my family. I have my Google Maps up.
I do that too.
While I'm getting my makeup on and it's showing me like the traffic and what time that it's getting ready. And it's like, do that.
I got here. I left like 40 minutes early today.
And that's so crazy.
And then I sat at a gas station, got an energy drink, and I was like, I'll pull up to Julia's like 5 minutes before filming, because I rather that than be late, because that's an accountability thing.
It really
doesn't feel good when you're late to stuff. That feeling applies to everything.
It does. Like it, of course. And the reason that we do this is because it doesn't feel good to call yourself out, you know, but I very much appreciate just when people are like, yeah, I fucked up. I don't know what to tell you. And I'm like, cool. Instead of just like making an excuse for why you did these things. And trust me, I've done this before too. Like it's so much easier to victimize yourself and to blame than to take accountability for the choices that you did or did not make, you know? And I feel like during this time right now, there's a balance of, giving yourself grace with the holiday season, but also knowing when to say, girl, you're fucking up. Okay. Like, pull up your big girl panties and go to the gym.
Yeah.
Quit being a little bitch about it. Sorry. This is the way that I talk to myself to make myself do the things. And I know not everybody is like this, but sometimes you just need a little
yeah, you need like yourself. A reality check. But on the flip side, don't be too hard on yourself. There's a fine line.
Yes. And when I'm talking about holding yourself accountable, I'm not talking about holding yourself accountable to the point where you're dwelling on it. And it's days of you reliving and rehashing out the same choice that you did or did not make. That's excessive. There's nothing you could do to change it. There's no way that you can go back. So stop thinking about it over and over and over again. Hold yourself accountable and be like, yeah, girl, I said I was going to do that thing. I messed up. I fucked up. Move on. Decide to do something different now, the next day, the next meal, the next workout session, because sitting there and dwelling on it, you're still victimizing yourself by doing that. You're like, oh, poor me.
And then you're still not making progress.
And you're still, because you're sitting in the thing, the choice that you did or did not make for too long. I should have went to the
gym yesterday. And then you think about it all day and don't go to the gym today. It's
you're like wow, I've just been doing this all.
Versus if you just got up and went to the gym and didn't dwell on yesterday.
Exactly. I know all of this is so much easier said than done, but it comes with practice. Like, you have to, just like you're lifting in the gym and you're building your muscles, you have to start thinking differently, start talking to yourself differently. And that's the only way that something changes. If you want something to change, you have to do something different than what you've been doing, because obviously it's not working. Let me take a sip of this real quick.
I can read the next one because the next one I always preach with my whole heart and soul, not the empty energy drink.
Everyone's going to come and be like, why is Julia just yelling at us this entire episode?
No, I appreciate it. I'm going to listen to this one back personally. The next one is stop relying on motivation and take action, which is the biggest thing, because I feel like we both get asked pretty consistently, like, what motivates you? And it's like, dude, absolutely nothing. Yes. Like, I just love doing this so much, and I love how it makes me feel so much. And I focus on my why and those things that get me to the gym, instead of being like, oh, I want to look like this person, or I want to have motivation to do this. Whatever external motivation, it's always gonna fade, unfortunately.
Yes.
So even if you're motivated in the beginning, you need to have deeper ties to health and fitness to get you again through the hard times, through the days you don't want to go there, and through just consistency, and having consistency and habits and things that are not motivation related that get you into the gym is going to take you so much further.
Yes, I totally agree on this. And it's like, I go through seasons throughout the year where I'm motivated and when I'm not motivated. I go through seasons in bodybuilding when I'm motivated and not motivated. And I know there's a lot of bodybuilders that will go through a prep and they're like, I just feel invincible. And you hit, there's a stride that you hit where nothing is going to deter you whatsoever. But then when you go into the off season, or if you guys are going into a building phase or the holidays, it's easy to kind of lose that motivation. But you don't need motivation in order to take action on the thing that you want. You don't need it.
You just have to take the action.
You just take the action.
And that's where that accountability comes in.
Yeah. And the example that I want to use is from this past Saturday. So it was Thursday was Thanksgiving. When you guys are hearing this, it's all out of whack. But it was Thursday was Thanksgiving. Saturday was my next leg day. And it was I was feeling uncomfy, bloated. I had some meals that were off and I was just I don't want to be here. I was literally sitting outside of the gym. I was already there. And I do this thing where I just sit in there and I will get on my phone and I'm like, okay, maybe I don't need to train. It was a hard week. I traveled to Houston. I was there for 2 days. I made Thanksgiving day, just making the excuses. I'm you're literally sitting in front of the gym and you're trying to go home right now.
Yeah.
So when you start feeling yourself negotiating on the thing that you committed to do, that should be a little red flag that pops up and goes, okay, you just need to go and do that thing. You need to beat your brain. And I always use the Mel Robbins 5-second rule where you just count down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And when you hit 1, you just go and do that thing.
Yeah.
So if you're questioning whether you want to go to the grocery store to meal prep, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you get in your car, you head to the grocery store.
Yep.
Whether you want to walk into the gym and you're sitting in the parking lot, just watching other people work out on your phone. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Crazy?
You literally, that's me. Cause my whole Instagram is just fitness stuff. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, you know, okay, Laura Lee Chapados, that's her glute workout. I'm like, you're supposed to be doing your glute workout right now.
One of my biggest tips for that is like, have a consistent routine of what you do when you get into the gym. Because like for me at my old gym, I would always go and foam roll first. And so that time foam rolling and listening to like one of my favorite songs would really get me into the zone, even on the days I didn't want to be there. And now it's like the first thing I do when I walk into the gym is go straight upstairs and onto the treadmill. That way, even if I still want to scroll my phone for whatever reason, at least I'm taking an action. At least I'm now in the gym. I'm moving my body. I'm getting my heart rate up.
You're literally getting momentum. Like you're propelling, you're like forcing yourself to go and do that thing, because you know, once you get started, it's just so much easier.
Yeah.
And I love that you said that. It's like, okay, just go.
That's literally how I view
imagining it. Like a force is just.
It's always the same treadmill too, the one in the corner.
Or just like imagine someone's just dragging you. Like just imagine it. And I touched on this a little bit later, and this is one thing that I used a lot through like my bodybuilding preps and, you know, achieving new goals that I had, whether it was financial goals or if it was a certain sponsorship that I wanted, it was a PR that I wanted, like an IFBB Pro card, how well I wanted to do on stage. I get angry about it. Mm-hmm. Like I get mad, and I use that to kind of fuel me to go and do those things. And I know that doesn't work for everybody, but for me, I sit there and I get mad that I'm not there yet. I get mad that I haven't achieved that goal. Mm-hmm. I get mad that I'm sitting here and not doing what I say that I'm going to do. And I know there's this fine line where if you just beat yourself up too much, then you genuinely won't do it. But there's times where I will have to give myself that little and like get angry about it.
I channel angry Kendall every time I go to the gym. Yeah. That's why I was doing
that yesterday, and that's why I was able to hit a 12 plate PR. Exactly. Like it's crazy. When I channel that anger of, I do this a lot when I'm in the gym and I don't feel as strong as I did the time before. I will literally get so angry that I am not as strong as I was last week that I actually hit a PR. Yeah. And I know that this is a little like crazy psycho, but it's so
a
true.
Toxic, but I'll take it.
Yeah. I mean, yesterday I was getting upset that I had a lot on my mind, and it was distracting me. And I was getting so angry that I was letting it distracting me from my me time, because it had nothing to do with training, that I was like, fine, I literally loaded the 5 plates on each side because I knew that that's what I've done before. And I was like, okay, I've done the 10 plates before. I literally went in and I loaded and I was getting ready to do it. And then I got mad and was like, no, I got out of there, added a plate on each side. I was like, I'm doing 6. I don't care if I can't get the 8 reps. Yeah. I'm doing 6. I got so mad and I was like screaming and yelling. I always scream and yell when I'm at the gym and people stare at me all weird, but I don't really care.
Sorry. I just view you as like,
I literally walk around like just this angry little troll.
I was going to say, but you are so cute. So it's like, like I know how you view yourself, but to me, I'm like, oh
yeah. And I always like, I channel a lot of frustration and anger and stress into my lifts. And
good place to do it. Healthy
I genuinely outlet. PR most of the time when I do that, but I do use this with goals that I have in my life. Like I get angry about it, that I'm sitting here not doing anything about it. And it genuinely helps. So I'm curious if any of you guys are like that. I feel like there's 2 types of people where you thrive off of people telling you, yes, you can do it. You got this. And there's another maybe fucked up kind of person. No, just kidding. Where you thrive off of someone telling you that you can't do it. Or me,
I'm surprisingly that person.
Yeah.
I have someone in my life who's not really supporting my clothing brand. And you better believe I'm making it my life mission to be super successful with my clothing brand.
I'm always like, okay, bet. I'm not only going to do it, I'm going to do it twice and I'm going to do it better.
I view it as such a competition and they have no idea.
Yeah, I literally I was giggling at myself the other day because I'm literally in competition with myself and everybody else around me all the time. And they have no idea.
For me, it's usually just in the gym. Like I really do channel that personality. And that's why I say like, I feel like Kendall in the gym is its own persona. Like that's not me day to day. That's
just me day to day.
But like when I'm listening to certain songs, like on my way to the gym, it's like I morph into this angry person. But maybe that's why I'm so easygoing all the other times in my day, because I take it all out at the gym. But that's like truly where I enjoy, like it feels good to get that out.
We carry a lot of this energy in our body, and lifting can help you physically get it out, much like if you were doing like breath work or something, or like a cold plunge or whatever it might be. It's very useful. So I know that's a little silly, but comment down below if you guys feel the same way.
Yeah. And I do know some people just like love being there and are so happy during their lifts.
Yes.
For me, I'm like fighting random
I walk
demons.
around just like I'm the maddest, and then I'll notice that I'm so mad, but I always make a point to break that and smile at somebody. And
I'm not
like,
good at that.
Hey, like I always do that because I'm not genuinely angry to be there.
Yeah.
I'm just using this to help me like get it all out.
Yeah.
But
agreed.
I hope this helped you guys a little bit, sparked a little bit more motivation. Like this is the thing. Light that fire in your butt and like, let's finish off this year the best that we can. And there's a balance between giving yourself grace when necessary, but also giving yourself the kick in the pants when you need it.
I view it as like a little cushion around the actual holiday where I'm like, okay, like a little grace here and there. And then I'm like, it's been one too many days.
You're like okay, the holiday is so far gone now. Like you just get back. You can always get back on track. But we love you guys so much, and you're more powerful than you think.
Bye.